NEECEE Lexy, unleash the power of your creativity. Let us help you tell your story today.
Which holds youth and youth across the globe. Today we are going to host NEECEE Lexy, and a bit of the NEECEE Lexy before she chipped in and talked to us about who is she, what she does, and why are we having her today. NEECEE Lexy is a South Sudanese Canadian blogger and a digital marketing expert. NEECEE Lexy, popularly known as Lexy, is the founder and CEO of the NEECEE Creative Agency based in Ontario, Canada. She is nicknamed Boss Lady due to her excellent work as a senior PPC strategist, brand marketing specialist, and podcaster. In 2021, NEECEE was listed among the top 50 Canadian female business owners to watch out for by Biz Fashion magazine. She has been featured in many radios, fashion weeks, articles, etc. Now, there is 100+ reasons why you should be following her online. That's a good news to everybody that wanted to really know what NEECEE is doing and how far she has got and what inspired rather to be what she is today. Boss Lady Lexy, as she is called, also runs shows. She hosts live interviews every Thursday on YouTube. As a media personality, Lexy interviews business owners, entrepreneurs, and celebrity artists from and around the globe every Thursday from 8 a.m. That is EST. So you are so sure to take off some of your minutes of your time and just drive to our YouTube channel and watch the live interviews and programs that is hosted by Lexy. There are several audios of the interviews available, as I said earlier, in our podcast platforms, including Spotify, Apple iTunes podcasts, Amazon Music podcasts, Google podcasts, Radio Public, and many others. Now, this segment is dedicated to youth forum females interested in building an online business or getting into entrepreneurship to secure financial freedom. NEECEE would be sharing strategies for networking goal settings, mindset hacks, and money management. Every Sunday, NEECEE shares video podcasts, topics on digital marketing tips, and many others. So you are so sure not to miss all that Boss Lady is doing. Now, back to South Sudan. She has been featured on several interviews and discussion forums, both overseas and here home. Recently, she was covered by Juba Monitor and also in Hot in Juba, Equatorial TV, the 211 Plus magazine, TSUPY.com, among others. Boss Lady, thank you for accepting to be hosted on Youth Forum program right here on Radio Miraya.
Wow, that was such a lovely intro. Thank you so much. I'm so honored to be here, being part of the youth forum, as well as because this is basically where my alley is, and I'm super, super pleased to be here this morning.
Great. Let's begin, right? Shall we? I mean, why are you so popular on social media platform?
How did I begin? Social media, I don't think it was something that I'm like, I want to be a social media star and things like that. It was just me finding a passion in what I do, and then people resonate to the stuff that I do. And from there, I got a lot of following because of them either interested into knowing how I do what I do, or just wanted to be able to kind of resonate with some of the purpose of me driving a lot of the youths. And my whole goal when I initially started is just to bring my creativity into the medium and kind of share my space, be able to kind of share my creativity. I started as a graphic designer, so I was sharing a lot of my arts and things like that. And from there, I got an interest in business, and also being a young model at the time, I was connected with a lot of people in the industry that do fashion weeks and things like that. So I'm always around networking and building and surrounding people. And I would share those stuff on my online, and a lot of people got interested in actually knowing and kind of watching the stuff that I do. And over time, instead of me just kind of sharing my photos and my modeling, I decided that I want to be able to share something more meaningful and open a blog where I can be able to host other individuals that are trying to be interested in the entrepreneurship industry. And this is where NEECEE LEXY kind of take off from there. Yeah.
Maybe a little bit. I know it took time for you to come up with, NEECEE LEXY creative agency company. But before then, how long did it take for you to come up with your own?
To be honest, this entrepreneurship for me is a 10 years journey. I initially, as I said, started as a model at a very young age. I was about 15. And from there, I got introduced to a lot of people in the modeling industry. There was like, I found so many great women in the city, like they're designers, some of them are model. But apart from just being in the fashions, a lot of them have their own businesses and a lot of them have other charities and foundations. And I got to have so many mentors that kind of show me like what it is that as a woman, in order for you to be powerful in the space, to kind of share it and be able to kind of have a different mindset, not just coming in here for fashion, but coming in here to be able to educate, network, and do all of those stuffs. And that's where my mind kind of shifted a little bit. Yeah. And from just that experience, I decided, you know what, this industry, I don't really want to be a supermodel, but I want to be a business owner. And how would that be is because I know growing up, a lot of people are either you go into school, you graduate, and then you get a job. And then sometimes this job is how you'll be secure your financial situation at home. But for me, I knew that in order for me to pass down the wealth or be able to kind of like, become one of the fastest growing company or things like that, I need to start thinking differently. And this is going into entrepreneurship and owning something actually, so that later on when I grow up and I have kids, I can be able to pass down to them. And I cannot pass down my career, but I can pass down my companies. So this is where kind of my mindset shifted and getting into NEECEE LEXY. And it's been a 10 years journey, but I've been blogging for the past 5 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And let's talk about the NEECEE LEXY, NEECEE Creative Agency. Why NEECEE? I mean, where did you get this name from?
So my name is Nancy, but everybody call me NEECEE. And NEECEE LEXY, actually the name Lexy came from my own first business, which was the fashion collection. I have a company called Lexinel River. And many people couldn't pronounce the name of Lexinel because it's too long. So a lot of people just call me Lexy. And then the NEECEE is the nickname for the Nancy. So that's how a lot of people knew me by that name. So I'm like, if I'm going to be creating a company that represent my personal brand, I would rather just go with the name that people know. Yeah.
Wow. All right. Anyway, Nancy, NEECEE, and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it could be a little bit difficult in South Sudan to pronounce that, for sure. So just consider yourself having some trouble for some people to pronounce your name back here. Yeah. But let's talk about the company itself.
Yeah.
Just drive through the journey. It's been 10 years already, isn't it? And how has it been?
It's been great. So Lexinel is the old Lexinel River is the oldest one, where it kind of was mostly dedicated to fashion, entertainment. Through that business, I was doing a lot of styling for music videos. I was custom making a lot of dresses and big into fashion industry. Also got to promote and host a lot of celebrities that would come from West Africa into Canada. So through that medium. And then I figure out that when I was having the Lexinel, because Lexinel has the fashion, has the entertainment, have the artist, has all of this stuff, it was a bit confusing for people to know exactly what I do. So I decided to split into two. So keep Lexinel as just the fashion house, and then separate the NEECEE LEXY as the media, the creative, the agency. And this is where kind of NEECEE LEXY kind of went about being as a separate sector. And through NEECEE LEXY, my whole concept has to do with digital marketing. We have to bring, because I know right now in any business, especially during COVID, when things are got locked down and all of this stuff, a lot of companies have to shift online. Whether you are motor broke now you don't have your store is not open, so you have to shift online. Everything was through shipment, through digital medium. And because I already have the experience of working in Google as their account strategist and a trainer, so it was easy for me to be able to use some of that knowledge and kind of apply to my own blog. So went transitioning from just being a blogger to opening a digital creative media agency, just because I saw there was a gap missing, especially within the my colleagues in the African what's it called, East Africa. There's a lot of great talent in East Africa that people don't know. There's a lot of artists, there's a lot of musicians, there's a lot of business owner that needs to get known. But in order for them to get known, they need to also kind of tap into the Western market. And for me being here and with all this knowledge, I feel like I'm responsible for allowing my medium to be able to kind of like let the world know about them and use some of my digital marketing knowledge and experience to bring them into this platform. And that's why I introduced the weekly feature, where I would kind of invite people to come into my podcast, invite them to come into my live show, so that people can get to know more about them as well, and kind of enhance that network and connection, and making. Now, I don't have to necessarily be in Africa to bring Africa to Canada or around the world. Yeah.
Wow. All right, that sounds interesting, and it's really very good to hear. I mean, let's talk about the competition part of it. I mean, you being in Canada and also being a female, competing with so many giant companies in Canada, Ontario, I do believe. How did you make it? How do you survive among these big giants companies?
I just know I have something very special. I know I'm bragging a little, but
that's great.
To be in the business industry, it's like you got to be unique. You got to have your own sense of purpose and your own sense of value and mission, right? And yes, there might be, I always say that when you walk into the grocery store, there's so many bread brand, there's so many water brand, there's so many different biscuits brand, and all of them are not telling, hey, just because the other person is making this, I'm gonna be intimidated not to make my own version. No, maybe I'm making it in a different shape, maybe I'm making it in a different flavor that people are gonna resonate to. And this is basically why NEECEE is kind of existing here, is because I am bringing a different taste, I am bringing a different flavor into this creative industry.
That is super. Now, I want us to talk a little bit, mixing it up with South Sudan. I let you touched East Africa having a unique, technology or something like that. And for South Sudan as your country, really, we have not gone to that level. But being a South Sudanese in Canada, and you've been doing amazing things right there. What hope do we have? I mean, obviously, some of South Sudanese have got very brilliant talent like yours, and you're super great. Right now you're bragging, and I think I'm also bragging in the studio right here. But, back to South Sudan. Yeah. What do we look up to? What is really that you can in future? Do you have a plan to maybe have a branch in South Sudan?
It's really at the mature stage, but I just don't want to jinx it. So yes, I do have a lot of plans for South Sudan specifically, and that is why you see a lot of my current posts is to getting a lot of people in Juba to know what NEECEE is all about and what NEECEE is ready to bring for Juba. And that I've been working with a lot of underground individuals down there, basically seeing how would I be able to transition, and with potential in the future also like kind of owning a facility or like an office to be able to utilize some of the knowledge and some of the tools that NEECEE Lexy offer here back home. And that is the whole mission of me right now, especially for the 2021 and 2022. My major focus has been South Sudan specifically, and Sudanese that are also in Kampala and in Nairobi. So I've been trying to just kind of focus heavy on knowing what exactly they need and what exactly is missing there, so that way I can prepare myself when I come, that we all have all of these stuff in motion.
You sounds very tough and bold. Some ladies are not up to your standard, and they might be fearing. Let's bring it back down to South Sudan as your country. Yeah. Ladies are not seen as priorities. Some of them are not allowed to go to school. And for that reason, they get married off early. They are forced to be married. Or they themselves, will go and get married because of the situation. Or they just want to settle because this is the trend. I mean, if you see a colleague of yours is married, having kids, you also want to see yourself not being left behind. And you also want to get kids and stuff. So they end up not doing anything creative or not having that space and time to do something like what you're doing. What is your message to them?
I would say don't feel peer pressure. Just because somebody else is jumping off the cliff doesn't mean you have to jump. And a lot of time, growing up, my mom always tell me, don't envy somebody's story if you don't know their full scenario, right? Like sometimes people might get married, all these glamorized, and they have the most perfect wedding, and you're like, oh, I'm missing out. I need to also be in that marriage, but you don't know if that marriage is actually healthy or not, and just don't rush into it. I would say, if it makes sense for you and you're in your gut feeling that you feel like, okay, this is something I could do, by all means you could do it. But if you feel like, in order for you to be entering a marriage that is healthy or successful, you need to go to school and you need to focus on that. I would say go take that route. And even me, before even doing the NEECEE Lexy, my parents made it very clear that you need to bring us a degree before you can go venture out and start to be an entrepreneur. And I had to go get my my degree in digital marketing, as well as I have a kinesiology degree. So all of these were done before focusing on the business full time. So I feel like sometimes when you go through the experience in a school, it opens your mind, but it also kind of allow you to enter spaces where you'll find a lot of powerful people and you'll find a lot of connections that can actually better your life and bring you into situations where you're not be able to struggle also in life moving forward. My advice would say, if you have the means to continue on getting your education, I'm 100% down for education. You always have to go and get it done. If there isn't a struggle, one of the things that I actually wanted to start developing is that finding ways or avenue with different Ministry of Education and things like that, so that way we can be able to bring in the STEM programs into South Sudan. So if this is something that I'm allowed to bring and also have the government to back me off, I would most definitely be interested in bringing those to those youth and those girls down there. And that's why I even introduced my new show, which is called Boss Up With Me, Girl Talk. This is specifically dedicated to the females, because I noticed a lot of females in South Sudan, they don't have the mentorship, they don't have a person to look up to that they can actually be like, hey, there's actually a different lifestyle that I can live and a different lifestyle that I can carry myself up to. So through that Boss Up With Me Girls Talk show, they might be able to learn some things that it might be able to be beneficial for them in the long run, whether it is how to change your mindset, because everything is it's on your mindset. Whatever you put on your mind is a very powerful engine. If you put like, okay, I want to be successful, I want to do this, and you put this and you keep repeating on your mind, eventually you're going to end up doing it. But if you keep on thinking negatively, you keep on thinking like, oh, I need to compete with this girl, so and so got married, so I need to do that. This is where your mind is going to take you. So all of these stuff are going to be discussed in my Boss Up With Me girl show, and how these girls can be taking some of this negative knowledge and apply it to themselves.
That is great, but I think I need to. I want us to keep it up on Boss Up. Let's Talk Girl Show. Down here, most of the common thing that people really, ladies that goes through specifically, is gender-based violence. I mean, things to do with sexual exploitation and abuse at workplaces, or rape cases, as you have heard, or even forced marriages that I've mentioned earlier. In your program, do you talk about issues related to GVV, sexual exploitation, abuse, or rape cases? Do you reflect such kind of discussion in your talk show?
Not necessarily. Most of my talk show is mostly focused on entrepreneurship. It's mostly focused on personal development, like how to even use some of your just like simple idea and turning it into something meaningful. That's what I focus on. But I do have colleagues and people that are kind of expert in that area, because I don't want to tap into an area where I don't know so much about it and feel like I'm a voice for it. So, but I tend to bring those people in who are very experienced in that topic to come into my show and discuss it, and then also giving them opportunity to leave their contact information, so that way when these girls wanted to reach out to them, they can reach out to them. And we have the live interview with NEECEE, and this is where I bring these individuals in there.
Wow. That is so nice. But NEECEE, let's talk a bit now of earlier on, I asked you of the challenges that you're facing. But let's talk in the larger perspective. Obviously, COVID-19 was a big challenge to you, but then it opened another space. You went online and everything shifted online and stuff. Assuming it wasn't only COVID, there are other challenges that you might have faced. Do you mind sharing it with us that you have ever faced during building up your company?
Entrepreneurship can be a lonely journey, and it can also be fun, and it could be very doubtful at times. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you, hey, like, make your idea today, you're gonna blow up tomorrow. It doesn't work like that. Sometimes when you're starting this journey, there's people who are gonna come after you and blow up overnight, and then you're gonna feel discouraged because you're like, oh my God, I invested 5 years and I didn't see anything, right? And this might sound discouraging, but you have to continue on just being you and focus on, for me, it's consistency and quality. It's what matters most. If I'm keeping myself very consistent for these past 9 to 8 years and kind of doing what I do, and also if there's something that I don't know, I'm going to go ask other people that are very good at it. And I find some of the challenges was like, especially with marketing. Initially, when I was creating the NEECEE LEXY blog, I didn't know how to promote it. I didn't know how to get it out there. So I went back to school for 1 year study digital marketing, and I was able to know the knowledge that I need, and I brought it back to NEECEE LEXY, and this is where the agency was built. And so I would also go into like different networking, different seminars, learn and connect with people. Sometimes this whole journey of from the past 5 years, all the stuff that I did and all the knowledge that I did because I put my heart and soul into it, it finally started paying off. Now, yes, you might be seeing me now in Hot in Juba, and all you see me be featured in like different video and different talk show. But this is just kind of like a little peek of what's about to come. But I've been here for so long, and sometimes it's like this journey is very it's like a marathon. It's not just like a sprint run. So you have to be very consistent. You have to be like, okay, if this is what exactly I want to do, I have to stay consistency, and I have to make sure that I'm putting my whole effort into it, or else it won't work.
We have so many people down here in the country that are more discouraged. Perhaps they don't even know the ABC of entrepreneurship, for instance. One of the problems that they face is you would find your relatives coming to, sabotage or jeopardize the thing that you're doing. They'll tell you, what, the business you're opening is not going to work. You are a lady. You're not supposed to be doing this. You are a lady. You're supposed to be married. You're a lady. You're supposed to, be leaving these things to the men and not you doing it. We are a little bit not thinking the way other countries are already thinking. Like, you now have the advantage of being in Canada, and the education system, the lifestyle and everything is quite different from Africa and from South Sudan, to be specific. So that here is more challenging, and there's more discouraging word that come from people. Although there's 1 and 2 of others that can encourage you to do whatever you want to do, but you'll find a good percentage of people really are not up to what you're doing.
Yeah.
You think that is one of the major problems or that face the entrepreneurs?
Yeah, so some of the problem with entrepreneurship, yes, definitely can be like a family not supporting you, and you will be blessed if you have a very supportive family, very supportive friends around you. But at times you might not find these people, and these people have to catch up to you. I said, even when I first initially was starting, and I would say these ideas to my friends and me, they'd be like, oh, you dream so big. They'll just laugh about it. They think like, oh, it's not going to happen. I knew I wanted to do business since I was 15. I was always talking about, oh, one day I'm going to own this company. I'm going to do the shoe line and all this stuff. That time, I didn't even have $1 behind my name. And you can imagine me talking about this in just like a lunch table with my friends, and all of them are giggling and laughing because they never seen anybody in my age kind of talk about this kind of big conversation, right? For them, it was all like a thing.
Yeah.
But now they start to catch him and actually be like, oh wow, she actually was talking about what she was doing all of this in her head, but she's actually talking sense. And what it goes to show that sometimes in this journey, you're gonna find people who would discourage you. You're gonna find people who will belittle your dream, but you don't have to listen to them. Listen to the core voice. What is the purpose of you trying to do what you do? Like, for example, if you want to open a hair studio, you're a lady, you want to open a salon. Why do you want to do that salon? What benefit is that salon going to bring to your community? What is the why behind that particular reason? If you know your why, it doesn't matter who says no to you, you will still go. You can go to the bank to ask them for loan. They might say no. You keep on going. You can go to your friends and talk about these ideas. They will say no. Keep on going. Because at the end of the day, if you put yourself first and you put your mind into this idea and you nurture it, eventually people will catch up to you. Because people sometimes you need to invest in yourself first before people invest in you, because they want to see that people will start to catch up to you. They'll start to be like, okay, you know what? This lady's actually doing something amazing. I want to be able to support her. And this actually is coming from my own personal story. And the other thing is, sometimes strangers are going to be your biggest supporter, not even the people around you. So you need to also understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So you're a boss lady. How does that make you feel? I mean, from NEECEE Lexy, now a boss lady.
The boss lady nickname, I got it before being NEECEE, which is the funny thing.
Oh, really? It's just the opposite of the other one.
Yes.
The boss lady come after.
Yeah, now it's like the CEO lady, but yeah, the boss lady, it's since I was young, because the way I just kind of talk, or the way I'm always kind of very adamant over things that I want to do, or sometimes, like, for me, how I make friends is I evaluate what conversation we have. If you constantly gossiping or constantly doing that, I can't be around you. Sorry. I need people who are always talking about big ideas. I need people who are talking about the next thing, or need people who are talking about opening charities and things like that. And then because I want to be able to have a healthy discussion about bringing things into the game. And because of I'm constantly around this type of individual, and that's how I got the nickname Boss Lady.
Wow, that's really super. Well, Lexy, we are almost coming up to, ending this interview.
Yeah.
It's up to 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Right here. But then, before then, NEECEE, you have done a lot, and you have done super amazing job. I can say this.
Thank
been
you.
doing a little bit of research about you ever since I set up this interview, and I was up and down. I was like, oh, NEECEE, Lexy. Where do I get this word? Where she do? All this kind of stuff, just to be able to know really what she has done and where you've been. But the outcome of what I've seen is so massive. And before then, please, if you do have a word or a message or encouragement or anything like that before you go, what will you really say to the ladies and the people of South Sudan at the moment?
I would say, if you have a burning desire of doing something that you know it's gonna have a huge impact in society, it's gonna leave a legacy, go for it and do it wholeheartedly. And doesn't matter whether people discourage you, doesn't matter whether you don't have a support, just keep on doing. Just do it. Just like how the Nike slogan goes, just do it. And you never know how that simple idea can take you and where it will take you. And another thing I would say, if you have the means to stay in school and get educated, go for it, because education is very powerful. And this, a lot of times, especially for us being a South Sudanese individuals, this is our ticket to life. Education is our lottery ticket, because some people don't have the privilege of getting it, but when we do, let's not take it for granted. Let's make something good out of it.
That's beautiful. Well, that is NEECEE Lexy, known as Nancy. In other words, she's a South Sudanese Canadian blogger and digital marketing expert. We are so privileged, NEECEE, to have hosted you. And personally, thank you so much for your time and energy that you had through this interview.
You're most welcome. It's a pleasure meeting you as well. Thank you.
Yeah. Do have a nice time and stay safe. That was NEECEE, and you've been listening to the Youth Forum program on Radio Miraya, your #1 Youth Forum program right here in the heart of Juba City. Until next time, bye-bye for now.
Bye, Juba.
Sipping on a gin and tonic, got me going off on a mind.